Pokemon Legends Z-A, new Mega Pokemon, stats. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. Spoiler alert, any meta Pokemon from Generation 8 or Generation 9 is just stronger than almost every Mega Pokemon in Pokemon Legends Z-A. Even though we don't have the ability, so this is just like a placeholder, there's almost like no ability combination that can save this because Game Freak was very timid with the buffs, and we can see that with Mega Clefable. So even if it keeps unaware, it's 20 more defense, 20 more special defense, and then it hits a little harder. So like your Calm Mind shenanigans aren't really any more effective. I guess the Pokemon is scary to Game Freak because it can minimize. So like Mega minimize shenanigans. And I guess it takes one more Calm Mind to come online slightly sooner, and there's maybe one speed matchup that actually matters here. So yeah, like what's the point in using your one and only Mega to not really do much with Clefable? The speed doesn't matter, you're just expecting to get outsped by everything. The attack is a wasted stat. It's plus 80 and it doesn't even feel that good. So sorry about the video. Just gonna be ping-ponging back and forth because it's actually like 100 times less work to not really get any more entertainment or value out of the quality of the video. So Mega Victory. Oh yeah, also Mega Clefable's Fairy Flying. So it just adds weaknesses for no reason. Crazy downgrade. We got Pokemon Champions coming out with Megas, so you'd expect like these Megas would be made competitively, or at least have some viability, but no, just like immediate wasted slot, and it's also a terrible design. Mega Victory Bell. Victory Bell's always been interesting, because like its stat line, even for a Generation 1 Pokemon, kind of decent. Like a mixed Pokemon with 105, 100. Some Pokemon don't even have, like some fully evolved Pokemon don't even have a stat in 100. They're just completely unviable. And then it can also do like growth and chlorophyll shenanigans. So like, it's always had it, but it's always just been slightly below average. And then when you have so many OP things in Pokemon, it never found footing. What about Mega Victory Bell? I guess Corrosion as an ability. Hitting Steel-type Pokemon with a 135 special attack Sludge Bomb probably doesn't matter too much. And here's another issue with just how these stats play out. That you don't have an item. Unless there's also like a ton of retuning and stuff, and maybe Megas are allowed items in Champions, but that doesn't seem like it's going to be a thing. You don't have an item. So 135 special attack without a Specs, without Life Orb, even though Life Orb is a terrible noob trap fraudulent item, it's not going to do anything. And our defenses don't go up enough. So 85 defense, 95 special defense on 80 hit points. We get one shot by everything. A Paradox Pokemon with Specs, any kind of boosting, any kind of Terra hit. So like we don't survive, and then we're not getting any one-shots. So we're just a free bait Pokemon. So that's another problem with a lot of the Mega Evolutions, is that they don't gain enough defenses to even survive power creep. And it just turns into a what's the point, or you just run another Pokemon, and you're also losing the Mega slot. Mega Starmie is crazy because it goes from 520 to 660 on the base stats. This has to be inaccurate, but I'm doing this off of the data mine, and like this Google Doc hasn't been updated yet. That's what everyone's saying. I haven't seen a correction. Why such like an insane change? Especially like, oh, Victory Bell doesn't get those stats, even though Starmie has been competitively viable for a long time. It's a Clefable. So whatever happens here, gotta be a typo. Something. If this goes through, it's actually shattered because 120 speed, 140 attack. Okay, even without the item, now we're talking about threatening Pokemon. And then the 105 defenses take it outside of a vulnerable range. But the scariest part, like, yeah, I'm trying to like think about the math. Like, okay, maybe we take away these 20s and one of these numbers is wrong. But whatever, like 120 speed, 105 defenses with minimized cosmic power, that's terrifying. As well, I mean, that's kind of the thing that Game Freak might have been trying to avoid with Clefable, but unless Starmie loses minimize from its moveset, which it might have, I haven't looked at all the data mine stuff, so I guess this is day zero competitive thoughts on Megas. It's not even out for Champions. We don't need, has to have Slow Start as an ability. Has to have Defeatist as an ability, even though Dancer would make sense, and Dancer would be absolutely shattered. So, I don't trust it. No matter how you run this thing. Offensively, doubles, you steal a Quiver Dance, and now you're just the best Pokemon to ever exist. Singles, you outspeed everything that matters, and then you go Cosmic Power to be tankier than anything, and it goes crazy, and then you have minimized shenanigans in your back pocket. Who's this guy down here? Mega Dragonite. So, if it keeps multi-scale, which I don't know if it's like fully reverting back to Dragonair, and then it turns out to just have Marvel Scale, but then it can't have an item, so it can't burn itself on demand, and then Rest is clunky on the Dragonite, especially without multi-scale. So, like, the ability makes or breaks Pokemon. You also have multi-scale to set up on Dragonite, and then you can just Mega and turn it around, but you lose the physical. So, like, Dragonite doesn't care about losing 10 physical, but it means, like, it's not, oh, one Dragon Dance, Roost, Mega, Shenanigans, and then, like, you're just more powerful, or Swords Dance into a Mega using your multi-scale. The 100 speed is interesting, because now, like, it doesn't get, like, it breaks out of the weirdness in, like, the 90s or something, and then that actually gives you a lot better speed matchups once you have your +1, and now you can go Jolly instead of relying on Adamant, but that messes with your attack now that's lower. I don't think there's any reason like Pivot where it's like 145 special attack without a specs, and you're just 100 speed. So you're just kind of, you Mega just to be a normal special attacker that can survive an extra hit or two. The 115 defenses is nice, so like Stall Dragonite is good, but Stall Dragonite only works because of Infinity multi-scale. So like, how do you do it? Like, this is just a bad idea. I hate the design. You have to do it the Mega for fan favorite, but also Garchomp got the Mega after just being a competitively dominant well, I wouldn't even say dominant. I think Garchomp's always been overrated, but it's always been a high presence Pokemon and just a very safe, easy to use, which is probably why it's so popular kind of Pokemon. And you got to give the fan favorite a Mega that everyone wants, but it's on one of the most used, strongest Pokemon of all time. So now you got problems. Mega Meganium. And sure, why not? Mega Feraligatr as well. We'll just do both of them. Gets 100 base stat total. Okay, actually 90, because that 10 attack is completely useless. It was always a defensive Pokemon, so it's mostly just, okay, it's got a high special attack now. So if you got coverage, you just two-shot things, but Grass ain't really that crazy. Did we get any typing change? Grass Fairy. Never mind, it's actually the worthless, most useless Pokemon ever, because that is an abomination of a frail, vulnerable, unusable typing. We saw this with Shiinotic. Shiinotic in Generation 7 launched with the craziest move ever in Pokemon. Strength Sap is one of the best moves ever to exist in Pokemon, but the Pokemon was unusable, and it also had, like, poor stats, which also goes along with Spore, so it was just, like, unplayable. This, you still die to a 4x Sludge Bomb. You still have way too many weaknesses for it to matter. And 143 special. So, I mean, like, Grass Fairy offensively, sure, you can KO a dragon with Moonblast if it finds a way to get a hold of that somehow. Dazzling Gleam, I guess, whatever. Could get carried by an ability, but that's a rough Pokemon. Feraligatr, though, this actually seems to be one of the strongest, if not the strongest, depending on how Starmie ends up playing out, because it's got, like, it just Dragon Dances, and then it wins the game, and now it has a 160 attack. So, you get that +1 speed, and then you just win. Also, grabs a lot of extra defense, gets a little bit of special defense. Feraligatr with Life Orb, Sheer Force on the Dragon Dance sounds crazy, and then it was just never really used competitively. So this opens up a lot, and then we get even more a lot because Water Dragon, one of the best dual typings in all of Pokemon. This is going to be very difficult to deal with, and maybe there's worlds where it gets +2, maybe it needs a +2. Jolly is going to be enough with this 160 attack most likely. Gotta get Strong Jaw, right? So it actually gets good synergy, where even like, oh, +1 Crunch, super effective. Yeah, nothing's surviving that. You just win. Golden Go is free. So the way the Z-A Megas play out is that it's just either seemingly completely unviable or actually immediately one of the best Pokemon ever. So we're going to see how Feraligatr plays out. Mega Skarmory. Why? I don't understand it, because like, oh, maybe we just get like a meme hardest, tankiest defensive Pokemon ever. No, it goes offense. 110, 140. And that's kind of durable. 110 doesn't exist anymore. Like, 110 is the new 100, and even then, 100 was kind of, like, weird on creep. 120 is the new 100, because there's a no man's land between, like, 102 speed and 130 speed because of all the creep that's come in. Why run a 120 speed Pokemon, a 110 speed Pokemon, when Flutter Mane exists, when Chien Pao exists, when you can just find anything faster and then still hits ridiculously hard and keeps its items, so it gets to go even harder. Unless, again, like, there's no way you can actually... Like, that was the problem with Mega Rayquaza, even though it was legendary that got to Mega and then have an item. You can't balance this if it has an item. So, it's slower Talonflame that you Mega Evolve to get your free Swords Dance, I guess, and then you can hit them with a Brave Bird and feel bad about yourself. Mega Frostlass, still Ice Ghost, which is a very strong offensive typing. Like, Frostlass in Generation 4 was one of the stronger Pokemon in the game, because it had, like, a lot of tricks and a lot of coverage it could do, but then it just didn't ever work out, where, okay, 110 speed, that's cool, 80 special. So it's actually, like, borderline useless. It's crazy this Pokemon never got any buffs. Why not buff it to 500 base stat total in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, especially if you're making Chien Pao, especially if Flutter Mane exists, especially like all this other power creep has happened. You can't even give this Pokemon a shred of viability. And then if you're like, if a Mega is loaded up, because we have this as the next game, or if that's somewhere in the very early concepting, you have to do something, because then it might be viable. You can add those stats in and then add the Mega on top of it. But 120, 140. Why not play Chien Pao? Why not play Flutter Mane? That's where what it boils down to like all of the Pokemon. Or you have a legendary from Generation 8 or Generation 9 that gets an item. Frostlass is a 140 special attack. A 140 Ice Beam, neutral, ain't gonna do anything. I just realized while editing, it Megas into non-Mega Alakazam without an item. Like, maybe it gets Perish Body. Carry on. And then you still have no defense, so you just don't get to survive in that. Like, why not do the Mega thing where, like, we lose 30 attack and put that in defense? So it's 100, 140, 100, and it might survive something. The 100 special, we've seen, like, Pokemon with random special attack just kind of do things. Actually, let me refresh my numbers. So yeah, 103 speed. Again, like, 103 and 120 are indistinguishable. 127 attack, and then, like, very specially bulky, but also has the beast boost. So I guess, like, Frostlass might be salvageable if it has some crazy ability, and maybe Skarmory gets a crazy ability, or that'd actually be funny because I said, oh, you're a Talonflame with a free Swords Dance. The way this is built could be Gale Wings, and that'd be funny. So unless Frostlass gets the craziest ability I can't even think of right now, I don't see what this accomplishes. But yeah, the 140 hitting a super effective hit is nice, and you got that crazy coverage. You get to play a bit more tricks, but outside of that, alright. Mega Emboar. So Emboar is a weird Pokemon because it's kind of built off of its signature move as a gimmick, which is why it's just a high bundle of hit points to survive recoil. So like 100, 65, 65. It's okay, but never saw play. Starter stats, 500, pushing over 600. Alright. 148 attack. Loses, just waste points. But then gets a lot of special defense. It's a Pokemon, I guess. Still firefighting. And then we got Excadrill Mega. So, I found Excadrill Mega to be entertaining in the way that you get some of your Choice Band, and you get some of your Choice Scarf. It's also chonky on the defense, so this could be a 3-hit KO Pokemon. You really have to chew through it. So it can trade really well. And maybe there's a durability play, but also you don't have, like, Assault Vest shenanigans. It doesn't... Like, the thing that Excadrill has become best at in modern Pokemon is just being an Oko bot to take out any kind of tank setup. You just want to go Horn Drill. You just want to go Fissure. Kind of just best enabled with a bulky Assault Vest set. Don't know what ability. So, like, yeah, some of these, I guess, like, might move from useless to viable based off of ability alone. But it's hard to keep up with so many of the other things. We're going to have to see, like, drastic nerfs and changes to, like, everything for Pokemon Champions. And then we got Mega Scolipede. So, there's no way Scolipede keeps Speed Boost. But you can actually just, like, protect on Scolipede, then Mega, and you got a free +1. Or you do sub shenanigans, and then, like, maybe you get more out of it. So this could actually become a really scary Pokemon, because I remember back in Generation 5, I think probably a significant amount in Generation 6, where people did a lot of heavy setup on Baton Pass Scolipede, where it's like Swords Dance, Substitute, and you could do a lot of crazy stuff. But now the meta has kind of really shifted into substitute spam for anti-tanking, because it turns out that, like, setup tanks is just the best, most optimal way to play Pokemon, and then Japanese players have become just completely schizophrenic, and they will run a taunt, and they will also run an encore, and they will also run a sub, and they'll run multiple things. I mean, we saw anti-tank Butterfree in Pokemon Sword and Shield just do absolute work, because if you're going up against Toxapex, or if you're going up against any tank, stally kind of Pokemon, you sub, you Quiver Dance, and the game's over. And you can just kind of choose to close that out however you want. So Scolipede, with that mega potential, where, like, it gets its 2 Beast Boost, or not Beast Boost, Speed Boost, so that's fine. And then it also gets the ability, like the second ability, to maybe benefit even more. If it's like Shell Armor or something stupid, then it's kind of useless, but maybe gives you some reliability. And then Chonky, 149 defense, 99 special defense, and then it can kind of hit. So going back to what I was trying to get at with Scolipede, is I've also seen movesets that aren't just sub Baton Pass. They just go Swords Dance and they start hurting you. Where it's like Protect, Swords Dance, X Scissor, and then Poison Jab. And those can do work. So I mean, some kind of like hybrid idea where it's like, yeah, I just sub into the tank, and then I set up 2 Swords Dance, and I'm the sweeper now as a Mega Scolipede that becomes too tanky. So, like, even if the sub goes down and it gets revenged, you ain't breaking a 149 defense if you have max hit point investment. Same thing with that base 99 special. Could be scary. Mega Scrafty, Dark Fighting. Okay, it's still Fairy, so useless. 130 attack. So yeah, it's kind of the same thing as Clefable. Scrafty is already made a home as, like, a stupid, filthy tank. Somehow on 65 115s. So they can only put 20 into it, and then they waste some stats and speed, which this doesn't do anything. There's no speed matchups that matter, probably. 55, this actually removes you from Trick Room, and then, like, what does it do? Yeah, so, again, has to have a ridiculous ability. Maybe there's a world where it actually just has a ridiculous ability, but 130 no item, and then just kind of bulky, like, okay, max hit points, max attack. I wonder what, like, non-mega like Dondozo, just run Dondozo. Save your mega. Electros. So, electric, does it get, the Bella Bolt ability where it gets hit and then it does more damage? Does it have to keep Levitate to keep the meme going, so no weakness? Mega Electros. What happens if it gets 100 more base stats? It can hit a little harder. Oh, it's wasting 30 on special attack. It's not tankier. And the speed 80 doesn't put you anywhere. Why does it exist? Why does it exist? Chandelure. I think Chandelure is one of the strongest Pokemon historically. It can mess you up with a Scarf, especially like Trick. It can mess you up with a Specs by just one-shotting you on anything. It has good coverage. It can go Focus Sash and just trade incredibly well. It can also do stally, minimize-y things and just be an absolute menace. Ooh, what? Bro, if they bring back the Shadow Tag, that would actually be awesome. They did it with Gengar, do it with Chandelure. And then you also have extra benefit where you can switch in the Flash Fire into a fire move and then have 2 abilities when you Mega Evolve it. So this could actually be a high promise Pokemon. 90 speed without Scarf I don't think does much for you, but just like bulkier. So like, yeah, Chandelure ain't going anywhere. 175 special attack. You're not getting your specs back, but this does open up quite a bit. And then you just get to deal. Chestnut, Grass Fighting. So Chestnut is weird. With Terra and being able to, like, reduce its weaknesses, actually started seeing play in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet as just an anti-tank, bulky, weird kind of Pokemon, because anti-tanking is just that powerful. 172 defense. Kind of nuts. You kind of like Mega into a Dondozo without Fissure, so it's bad. But, you know, this is what we see. Like, oh, it loses stats, puts them elsewhere, doesn't waste any points. My god. Chestnut really needed it, huh? Except it kind of didn't, because, like, again, it started seeing viability. And even non-Terra, it's rather successful. So this thing can, like, set up a Leech Seed, get behind a sub, and just win the game. And then it can also, like, threaten a bit more damage, even though it's not about the attack. It's just using body press and stuff. So, Chestnut, potentially viable. Also, if it gets a really cool ability, could work out pretty well. Mega Delphox, what do we got? 159 special attack. So I guess it's the Life Orb Delphox. Is that actually what the math plays out to? Delphox, 114, 327. So that becomes 90. Like that's like plus 90. So that goes a little over 400 if we sort by special attack. Mega Charizard Y, 417. It's actually Life Orb, just baked in. But the thing is, Charizard got to make up for that by getting Drought. So just 50% special attack, and that's why Y was threatening. Without it, Y kind of dookie. So 159, 134. Really? Really? Why? Why use your Mega, again, to be worse than just any meta Pokemon from recent generations? We lose to Mega Lopunny. That just feels bad. Oh, Smogon is stupid casual babies, so we don't even have, like, the list of Pokemon because National Dex has bans because they're stupid like that. National Dex, I guess we just have to see anything goes. Pheromosa. Yeah, that's going to be back in the game at some point, probably. That's just faster. Dragon Ball is the 142, but then it's like, oh, Iron Bundle, Chien Pao Fluttermane. Why not make it a 136? Maybe a 137 so you don't get one shot by an Iron Bundle and you don't get to play the game. So just a regular Pokemon. Just Paradox Pokemon, better than the Mega. And it also gets to have an item. So it has Mega stats, but better. And then also gets to have an item, or can do its Pork Drive, Photosynthesis shenanigans, booster energy, and just get to win. So like 134 is a waste. 125, okay, it's just like a fairy type Pokemon overstated on special defense. And then it kind of hurts, not really. And it's still Fire Psychic. Cool. Greninja. That's going to be a weird interaction where it's like Protean, unless it keeps the Protean, but like Protean, you do a move. Actually, that's not a weird interaction. That could actually be good, where like Greninja comes in, you use Ice Beam, you become Ice, but then you Mega, and then you go back to Water Dark because your ability resets or something. 142 speed. I'll say made a Dragapult. Actually, it's just worse Dragapult because Life Orb or no item or whatever you're doing to enable a weird moveset on that trash Pokemon. Trashapult. Why even try? Like, huge noob trap, terrible Pokemon. And then, unless Greninja's ability is absolutely busted, I don't see the point. Alright, why does Mega Pyroar exist with its stupid design? 126 speed, 129 special. Wow, that is completely unsalvageable. And then, like what I'm saying, like you Mega it just to get one shot, because 86 actually isn't good. Mega Floette doesn't count, so we have Mega Malamar. And this is where things get really weird, because Malamar is a Pokemon you can do your shenanigans on, and then Mega Evolve. So that's why we don't get defense. And we get 10 attack, which kind of doesn't matter, and 30 special attacks. Like we... Okay. What terrifying ability have they lined up for this Pokemon? Because, like, yeah, we're not allowed to have defense because superpower, and then topsy-turvy and contrary shenanigans. People just find a way to cheese. So we can't make our superpower too strong. We get some special defense. So I guess, like, it just backs up your superpower. Assault Vest, though. And then we didn't get anything on special attack, so we're just 98. That's actually, like, its stats are so terrible, it actually becomes one of the scariest Mega Pokemon. Still Dark Psychic. Cool. Interesting typing, but going off its design, it needed the Mega Beedrill treatment. It just loses everything. Like, how does that thing get tankier? I guess, like, it makes sense to not get defense. It should actually lose defense, just based on how it looks. And then Psychic Powers give it special defense, because that's how the game works. But, yeah, this thing just needed to, like, lose all of its stats, get crazy special attack, crazy speed. Maybe adaptability, just be the special Beedrill. Game Freak can't design Pokemon at all. Mega Barbaracle. Rock Fighting. Okay. Is that an unused unique typing? And we finally got it? Oh, okay, fan service. Good job, Game Freak. You did a thing. We lose Life Orb to get Life Orb baked into our attack. We get tankier, and then we also get more speed. So Shell Smash Mega Barbaracle, shattered. Might even be S tier, if not A tier strong viable, because like that's how, again, that's just the nature of megas. You're only allowed one, so why would I even mega any of these new ones if if Mega Charizard exists, kind of thing. I think Mega Sableye was really good, but then it got like weird Generation 7 nerfs on the speed interactions. There's still just like a handful of crazy good megas, and then no other reason to run the others. So more speed to not lose any speed ties, more defenses to like tank that first hit really well from the Shell Smash, and then just like succeed. And then you have your attack. If it keeps Tough Claws, if it gets a better ability, it's actually going to be really good. Barbaracle, one of my best sweeping Pokemon in Pokemon X and Y. Got videos about that. It's one of the things where this is the one of the most disgusting, one of the most hated I've ever felt towards a Pokemon design. I saw Generation 6, I'm like, man, if this keeps up, Pokemon's dead. Little did he know how correct he would be. But at the time, like, this ugly, this horrible of a design is tolerable when everything else around it is pretty good. Generation 6 decks, pretty strong. Generation 7 decks, also, that's probably like the best Pokedex for designs, to be honest. But the way I work is I'm a min-maxer. I'm competitive. I also like solving Pokemon. So it doesn't matter how ugly and disgusting the Pokemon is. If it's really, really, really good, I'll actually have more fun. Well, not more fun, but I'll have a lot of fun using it. Where, like, you just got swept by a Barnacle, and it'll do that, and it was, like, one of the just hardest 6-0 Pokemon. It just worked in Generation 6 on that Shell Smash. Carried into Generation 7 as well. So that better? Alright, Game Freak messed up. They slept, and this should just be crazy good. Mega Dragalge, more special defense. So I had, like, an interesting thought earlier, not like earlier today or like earlier recently, but a while ago about like, why didn't anyone run Dragalge if it's just similar to Tentacruel? And Tentacruel started getting a lot of competitive play because it was just a special defense beast that did things. It's mostly like Tentacruel's 100 speed. Like, oh, it just outspeeds everything uninvested. So you're just like trading with Pokemon, even like weird speed creep sets. Like, oh, you just outspeed it and then you win. So Dragalge loses out on that, has crazy special defense, gets crazier special defense. Does it just wall and bulk and work and now it two-shots things or like acid spray combos? If it has a neat ability, it could be pretty cool. Mega Hawlucha. Hawlucha has always been a weird fringe viable Pokemon because of that Unburden. So what is it? What happened here? It got some defense. It got some special defense, no speed. And then it had a low attack and now it doesn't. And then finally, we got Mega Drampa and Phalanx. Drampa, I guess Berserk one-shot with more bulk. You got Gimmick, I guess it can do a thing, but like, Megas are not meant to be one for one. Megas are meant to be your hard sweeping, ending the game raid boss Pokemon, or your cancellation of another opposing Mega Pokemon. So I don't know what it gets to do. Unless it has something, it has to have something crazy. Cloud 9 to negate weather, maybe opens up some doubles room. Yeah, I don't know. Mega Phalanx. So the thing about Phalanx is that I also don't understand Game Freak. They make all of these crazy, overtuned, busted Pokemon. Ultra Beast exists, Toxapex in previous generation. No care whatsoever with power creep moving forward, but then Phalanx is just bad. Even though it has like the it's like they didn't want Phalanx to be a high tier common Pokemon, even though a lot of other Pokemon just slipped into that and went, oh, this is just crazy now. Or we already had existingly crazy powerful Pokemon, so like no retreat has a drawback, but Phalanx has no stats to back it up. What about Mega Phalanx? Because it still has the no retreat. Okay, the 100 Scarfed is actually kind of nice. And then they didn't give it defenses like Clefable to then like multiply on that and survive. And then 135 attack on a +1 with no item. Remains to be seen if Mega Phalanx does it. Then can also get a cool ability that might make up for it. So, this is actually what a Mega should be. If this is actually like really strong, like high A tier power once you all do all your thing. Because now its signature gimmick makes sense and you're using that Mega power to just create an absolute force of a Pokemon. Still a little timid, especially for a Mega, but interesting. Has potential. So yeah, like the Mega Dex of Pokemon Legends Z-A has almost mirrored previous how Mega went. that we have a ton of completely useless Pokemon, some maybe alright Pokemon, and then a couple of absolutely dominating Pokemon. That's why Mega sucks as a mechanic. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.